Before beginning today's video, I would like to welcome Chiron Low to become the members of Zibo Gaming's channel. Thank you so much for your support, Chiron. And I also like to thank all the other members of the channel for all your support so far. Thank you so much. Orca is a warlord mercenary who always shows up in areas of large conflict. So she's the enemy of Grand Admiral Marina because they had a really tense fight within Marina's kingdom, and eventually the battle between the two of them ended with Orca taking Marina's eye while Marina taking Orca's arm. So it was a super intense battle to have this intense outcome. So in today's video, we're gonna analyze whether or not Orca is indeed that powerful as shown in her story, and let us see how worthy is warlord mercenary Orca potentially. Orca is a firm believer of money and power, so to her, it's only natural that the wealthy and the powerful dominated the world. Hence, she's super determined to become on top of the food chain and will pay any cost to do so. So she's a solo type of player where she do not manage the people that follows her, and they purely follow her for her skill and high success rate in terms of her missions. And she just gathers them for fun when she feels like it, then neglect them completely. Ever since Marina took her arm in her fight in Adele, she became obsessed with her and is determined to finish off Marina. Upon hearing news of Marina's stay in Heavenhold, she headed there in an attempt to finish off her arch nemesis and become the most powerful warrior on the seas. Orca is ranked 4th in terms of attack, 46 in terms of defense, and 42nd in terms of HP. So her party buff is range attack plus 50%, which is a super powerful buff for guild raids as well as many PvE contents. At the same time, she has a built-in skill damage plus 10%, a 5% shield at battle start, as well as a 10% attack increase on enemy kill for 10 seconds. So Orca's normal attack Annihilation attacks in 3 different phases. The first and the third attack is not able to pass through walls nor terrain. However, the second attack is able to pass through wall. But in general, I feel that she's not a hero that performs very well with a lot of obstacles around, so do take note of that. And her secondary ability is known as Mine Toss, which allows her to throw homing missile to inflict damage on the enemy. And if the mine actually lands on the enemy, it decreases their water resistance by 20% for 4 seconds. Now, Orca's chain skill Execution is a super straightforward skill, dealing 350% DPS damage to the enemy. However, this skill is actually super duper powerful when we stack it up with the fact that the chain skill starts with the airborne, which benefits her range attack buff, as well as the possible water resist down that she can apply on the enemy, further boosting this damage output of her chain skill. So she's a very chain skill based character, to be really honest, based on my personal experience. And the reason why it's so powerful is because of her skill damage boost, her range attack buff, her chain skill being airborne benefiting range attack, as well as her water resistance all built into one hero. Her special ability is known as Feint Tactics, where she's able to increase her defense by 30% for 5 seconds when she uses her Mine Toss ability. At the same time, she's also able to increase her attack by 30% for 3 additional seconds for each mine that hits the enemies. So this effect overlaps up to 3 times, meaning she can actually receive a total of 30% attack boost if all 3 of her mine actually hits the target. So Orca's exclusive weapon, the Nemesis, is compulsory to ensure her maximum potential. So on hit, it allows her to reduce her skill regen time of her Mine Toss by 0.5 seconds, which is crucial because Orca plays a lot around that landmine mechanic. At the same time, it allows her to throw 2 additional mines when using Mine Toss, allowing her to reach the plus 30% attack immediately if she throws her skill and all the mines actually lands on the target. So Orca's landmine doesn't really pass through walls nor terrains. It deals a small AoE damage if it lands on the target or lands on the selected spot. However, most of the time, if your opponent is very mobile or if your opponent is constantly moving, it's not very easy to hit the opponent with the landmines. So I treat it more like a utility skill where you run into the face of the enemy and then throw the landmines in their face. So you can actually try to set the landmine and wait for your opponent to come to you, but if your opponent knows how to play, they can play around these landmine mechanics as well. Her weapon ability is known as Cryogenic Grenade, which deals a very low 200% DPS and a very low regen time of 8 seconds. So you take around 2 weapon skills to actually crowd control your enemy, so it's super duper fast. and this ability is able to pass through walls and terrains. However, the aiming mechanics is kind of wonky. I would say that you need to be super duper close range in order for the targeting mechanics to aim at your enemies, because sometimes if you're not close enough, the cryogenic grenade will just throw in the forward direction where she's actually facing. So Orca's appearance in Colosseum is pretty darn low, right? I don't really see many. In fact, I haven't really seen more than 5 right now. Overall, I would say that the main reason is because of 3 key pointers. Number 1, there's way too many Camels, and Camel can single-handedly wipe out water teams as a whole if he's strong enough or if he has sufficient buff on himself. At the same time, water teams in general is just not that powerful right now, and Orca being a centerpiece of the water team with her range attack buff as well as her water resist down doesn't really put her in a good position, because water team just isn't really that good right now due to the many other reasons like earth being better, other elements being better, or Camel just owning water teams in general. At the same time, Orca's attack range is really short, so she often positions herself in very weird locations, which cause her to get hit or targeted by the enemy's range attackers, so she dies really easily, and she's not able to abuse the landmine mechanics for a very long duration due to the short-handedness of her normal attack. Now, in terms of Marina, I feel that Orca is actually a pretty decent unit. She's able to deal decent damage. She has a few mechanics to play around, right? You can play around the throw landmine and run mechanics. You can throw landmine and then just straight up man-fight your opponent, or you can rely on your weapon skill to actually fight the arena battles depending on the different scenarios. So overall, I think she's really flexible, but I think she's really frail, so do try to pair up with 2 tanks which are able to benefit from her range attack buff. At the same time, try to not match her against Miro and Camel, because your win rate against these 2 heroes is really low, as I really don't find a chance to actually play against them except for trying to outskill them with my chain skill. Now, in terms of PvE contents, I think she's definitely one of the better additions to the water raid teams due to the water resist down, the range attack buff, as well as herself dealing decent damage when you pair up with multiple buffs all together. Although she has the universal range attack party buff, which makes her pretty flexible in terms of team building, her true potential still lies within the water team, as she has all the kit made for water units. overall she's a solid unit to invest in, not as outstanding as Camille, but decent enough if you are a water lover. She also does decently well in contents which requires you to fight multiple enemies, as she's able to regenerate HP per enemy kill within the map. So how worthy is Orca Potentially? I feel that Orca is a solid S-tier unit in all aspects of the game. She does pretty well in PvEs, she does pretty well in PvP contents as well. However, she's heavily outshined by Camille at this point of the game, with the same party buff which is range attack buff, while Camille being more universal with his range defense down. So overall, Orca seems like not that good when you compare her with that kind of beast in the game. However, she's a pretty solid unit if you want to focus on the water element within the game, so do invest in her if you have some spare gems. At the same time, do take note that there's another mileage event for her as well, so you get additional 5 mileage per 20 summons, which is not the best mileage event we have seen, but it's freebie, so yeah, that's that for her. So that's it for today's video. Let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you will invest in this Warlord Mercenary. And thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more videos from this channel. And I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.